Okay, so let's divide some polynomials. So the first question says, find the quotient and the remainder of this right here. X squared plus 2x minus 3 divided by x plus 2. So first let's solve this by doing some long division. So x plus 2 is the denominator, and the numerator is x squared plus 2x minus 3. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the first term in the numerator and see that this is x squared. And now we look at the x in the numerator and see what we have to do to x to get to x squared. Well, obviously, all we have to do is multiply by x. So we're just going to write x over here. And now we're going to put a minus symbol and some parentheses. Now we multiply the numerator by what we wrote on top here. So x plus 2 times x. So first, x times x is x squared. And 2 times x is 2x. And now, since we put this minus symbol, negative symbol, this all changes here. So this becomes x squared minus x squared. So this is 0 plus 2x minus 2x, which is also 0. And now we added up everything here. Now we can bring down the next term, which is negative 3. And you see, we can't do anything to x to get to negative 3. So we just leave it there. And now we just say that the quotient, which we can say as q of x equals x, and the remainder, which we can say as r of x, is negative 3. Okay, for number 2, we have x squared minus 5x plus 1 divided by x minus 1. So let's set up the equation, or the division here. X minus 1 is the denominator, and then x squared minus 5x plus 1 is the numerator. So to get from x to x squared, all we have to do is write x, and then negative symbol in parentheses. X times x is x squared, and then negative 1 times x is just minus x. And then now when we add this, we have x squared minus x squared, which gives us 0, and then negative 5x plus x, which gives us negative 4x plus 1. And now we have to see what we can get from x to get to negative 4x. And all we have to do is just multiply by negative 4. So we write minus 4, and now we put negative symbol, parentheses, and now we multiply x minus 1 times negative 4. So negative 4 times x is negative 4x, and negative 1 times negative 4 is just plus 4. And now when we add this, negative 4x plus 4x, we get 0. And then 1 minus 4 is negative 3. So this becomes our remainder, and this is our quotient. So we have q of x, which is our quotient, equal x minus 4, and r of x equal negative 3. And what we can do with this, once again, so this is our final answer, but something we can do with this is how we can get from this back to this original equation or division. So if we have x squared minus 5x plus 1, this is equal to the quotient multiplied by the numerator plus the remainder. So if we have x minus 4 times x minus 1, and all of this minus 3, this is equal to the numerator. Okay, so number 3, we have 2x to the 3 plus 3x squared minus 3x minus 2 divided by 2x plus 1. So this time the numerator is a little different, because now instead of just a quadratic, we have another term. We have 4 terms now. So we can still use long division to solve this. So we have 2x plus 1 and then the numerator is 2x to the 3 plus 3x squared minus 3x minus 2. So now what do we have to do to 2x to get to 2x to the 3? Well, we already have the 2, but the x's are the different. So we have x to the 3 and x. So all we have to do is multiply by x squared. Now we have to do the negative symbol and parentheses. Now 2x times x squared is 2x to the 3. And now 1 times x squared is just x squared. And now this becomes 0 because 2x to the 3 minus 2x to the 3 is 0. And now 3x squared minus x squared is 2x squared. And now we can bring this down. Minus 3x, we can bring this. Now, what do we have to do to 2x to get to 2x squared? This time, all we have to do is just add or multiply by x. So we put the negative symbol in parentheses. 2x times x is 2x squared. And 1 times x is just x, so plus x. Now, 2x squared minus 2x squared is 0. And then negative 3x minus x is negative 4x. So, now what do we have to do to 2x to get to negative 4x? All we have to do is multiply 2x times negative 2. So that's why we put negative 2 there. And now what we have to do is negative, parentheses, 2x times negative 2 is negative 4x. And then 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. And we can also bring this down now. So we have negative 2. Negative 4x plus 4x is 0. And then negative 2 plus 2 is also 0. So now that means we have a remainder of 0. And we just have a quotient. So that means there's no remainder. So q of x equals x squared plus x minus 2, and r of x is just 0. And now we can say that 2x to the 3 2x to the 3 plus 3x squared minus 3x minus 2 equals x squared plus x minus 2 times 2x plus 1. And there's nothing to add because the remainder is just 0. So that means the quotient times the denominator equals the numerator. Okay, so question 4, we have 3x cubed plus 11x squared plus 8x plus 7, all divided by 3x minus 1. So here we have 3x minus 1. And on the outside, or inside, we have 3x cubed, which is our numerator, plus 11x squared, plus 8x, plus 7. So first thing, what do we have to do to 3x to get to 3x cubed? All we have to do is multiply by x squared because the 3's are the same. And the only thing that's different is the x. So x squared, so negative, parentheses, this becomes 3x cubed. And then now negative 1 times x squared is minus x squared. And now we add this becomes 0. 3x cubed minus, this is a 3 to the power 3. So 3x cubed minus 3x cubed is 0. And then 11x squared. And now this negative 1 times negative x squared becomes plus. So 11x squared plus x squared is 12x squared. And now we can pull this 8x down, so we have plus 8x. And now what do we have to do to 3x to get to 12x squared? This time we have to multiply by 4x. So now we have negative, and then parentheses, 12x squared. And then negative 1 times 4x is minus 4x. And now we add this, 12x squared minus 12x squared is 0. And then 8x, and then negative 1 times negative 4x is plus 4x. So 8x plus 4x is 12x. And now we can pull the 7 down, so plus 7. And this time all we have to do is just multiply by 4 because the x is the same. And we have to multiply 3 by 4 to get 12. So plus 4. And let's see what the remainder is. So negative, and then parentheses, 3x times 4 is 12x. And then negative 1 times 4 is minus 4. So this is 0. And then 7 plus 4 is 11. So now our remainder is 11, and their quotient is x squared plus 4x plus 4. So we can write that here. Q of x equals x squared plus 4x plus 4, right? And then R of x, the remainder, equals just 11. And now we can say 3x cubed plus 11x squared plus 8x plus 7 equals, and remember to put this in parentheses, x squared plus 4x plus 4 times 3x minus 1, and then plus 11. And this doesn't have to be in parentheses. Just make sure that the denominator and the quotient have to be in parentheses, because you're not just multiplying the 4 by the 3x minus 1. This whole thing is being multiplied to this whole thing. And then just plus 11. And this is the final answer.